we'll just put these form pieces together. Watch them a little long on the screws. I'm going to come through the back here. So actually what we'll do, we'll just put a block under here and then I don't have to worry about it. But this is just my splice piece. Just a little longer than 16 feet. So. And that piece just goes right onto the end here at 90 degrees, and that's going in the corner between my shed and the fence. I'll block off that little area. Life is so nice since I got a new variable speed drill here. I had an old Black & Decker drill here from, had it for decades. It was my grandfather's. And unfortunately it died here during my last renovation project, so I've had to go out and get myself a new drill. Good day, Pat the Backyard Builder here. Well, we're working on our concrete casting area. Kind of shut down a bit this summer here, working on my home renos and infrastructure and stuff like that, trying to increase the efficiency of my casting operation so I can maybe start doing a little bit of commercial work on the side. So right now I'm just cast for a hobby, sell a few at work and here and there, and enjoy doing that, but it seems to be an operation that I'm going to like to do, and actually looking at eventually going full-time with it. I think there's a great business opportunity in it. But anyways, what I'm doing right now, I've leveled out an area of my gravel pad where I normally do my casting, and I'm actually going to be putting in a cement pad, and that pad is going to be absolutely level, and that way I don't have to shim anything up anymore, and I'm not going to have to worry about making sure things are level. I'll just be able to fill a mold and pop it on the pad, and I'll know that it's level, and that's going to help me a lot. And I've also got a neat little system that I'm working on for actually stacking castings as I go. So, and hopefully that's going to save a little bit of space, enable me to squeeze a little bit more production into my little tiny area. I've just got a little tiny area here that's maybe, I think it's about 12 by 17 or 11 by 17, something like that. It's not very big, but it's worked up until now, and I've done a few little changes here and there, but I'll just show you what's going on. Right here, like I say, we're working on some forms, and we're just going to put a level pad. It's almost be like a sidewalk. It'll just come all the way down the fence here, and be about just a little over 2 feet wide, so that I can just put a bench or a couple castings or sidewalk block or something like that, whatever I happen to be working on at the moment. This past weekend I was rather busy here. I worked on this little area here beside the composters, and basically what I did, I just leveled this out and pulled a couple of trees out by the roots. Neighbor with his tow truck came by and yanked them out for me, but everybody has in their collection a few castings that don't quite turn out the way they are, the way they should be. But as you see, I've got a few things here that didn't quite turn out, cracks and chips and stuff like that. So they make great stepping stones. And what this area here with the barrels is going to be is a spot where I'm actually going to store my raw materials. I've got the barrels. I'm going to drill a few holes in the bottom so that they drain, and then I'm going to fill them up with sand and gravel, and that'll be my my stockpile. Basically what I'm doing, because I'm so close to my fence, in fact I'm under my fence, I'm just using 1x4 for an outside form, and I'm just actually screwing it into the fence posts in order to hold it in place, and just making it level. I've got my corner here, it's going to go right in behind the shed here, and just put a little peg in there to hold that, and put a little bit of gravel on the other side of the form here just to keep it from pushing away. But I'm not going to have too much trouble with it pushing away, so, because it's only going to be like a 4-inch pad, so it's not going to be a whole lot of pressure on the outside. So, but anyways, just put that little splice together next here, and then we'll start leveling this section here. Now this 1x4 is actually going to be a throwaway form. I'm not going to actually be able to get it out once we're finished here, so it's just gonna have to stay in there permanently, and it'll just have to rot away in time. But not much I can do about that. But that's just the way it is. Whenever you do a splice like that, just take a level and run it over, make sure it's still straight. Just use a level or a straight edge of some kind just to make sure that you haven't bent things out too badly. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to start by taking our drill and attaching this form to the base of the one post here, and make sure we're lined up with the end. We are. Going to attach it there now. What we're going to do, we're just going to put the level on. Go to the next post. What? Just get this pre-started here. There we go. Now, make sure we're level. We need to come up just a little tiny bit. Right about there. There we go. There. That's nice and level now. Presuming my border's straight, which it was, we should be level the whole way. And that's all looking good there. We'll just go check the other end. That's all level there. So voila. Now we just need to secure the ends. This one into this base here, and that one into the final post on the fence. And with the rest of the form secured along the fence here, we're just going to put this little peg in. And then that'll just give something for this to push up against. And we'll just secure that with a couple of screws here so that it's not going to go anywhere on us. There we go. That corner's nice and solid now. We don't have to worry about that going anywhere. And what we'll do here before we pour, we'll just throw a little bit of sand here behind, and that'll just hold that in place from pushing out so it doesn't bow. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is put a mark along the base of this shed here. I want to bring the pad up to the face of the shed, but I don't have anywhere where I can really keep track of where level is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just simply going to put my my straight edge level on the edge of the form, and I'm going to put it up against the edge of the shed here. I'm going to get it level, and once it's level, I'm just simply going to make a line all the way across the edge here. And then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to staple a strip of wood along here, and that'll be my guide for when I actually do the concrete finishing and do my leveling. So we're just gonna staple that wood there, and then that will give us something for the trowel to just touch up against, and we'll know where level is now. And once you fix that in place, just take your level and just put it up against, and just ensure that the whole way you in fact did maintain your level. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, I've cut my next length of form here, and I'm just going to attach it to the side of the building here now, and I'm going to align the top of this form with the bottom of this lip here, so that when I come and do my leveling with the trowel, I'll be able to sweep across here and then use this lip along this edge here to just have the trowel just go under that edge, and that'll keep the whole pad level. Now we're just going to put one screw in for now, and we're going to take another level. Short level, where'd the short level go? There it is. Just going to take another level, put it right on there. Now the next thing we need to do, we're going to take this, now this is called a concrete pin, and we're going to use this pin to actually hold this corner of the form here. Now the nice thing about these concrete pins, you can buy them, you can rent them, you can borrow them, whatever. But they've got these holes all the way along here so that you can pound it in beside a piece of form, and then you just simply put a screw through to hold the form in place. So we're going to put that right there, and I suppose before I pound that home, I should probably get a square and just check that and make sure that's the right spot. Okay, so I've got a square here. I'm just going to double check that this is in fact square, and I can come back this way a bit. And now before I actually sink that home though, I need to actually double check that not only am I square to the building, but that the building itself is square to the rest of the form, because if I just hook onto the building, I might find myself with the form a little bit skewed. So what I'm going to do here, just to double check the squareness of this, I'm just going to take my tape measure here, hook it onto the form, and exactly 100 inches to the outside. We're going to come over here, and we're going to check here. We're 100 inches to the outside, And with being 100 inches to the outside, we are in fact square. So that's exactly what we want. So now I know I can drive my peg home right about here, right beside the form. We'll put a level on here. And in the hole. And then we just adjust our piece of form. Let's see here. There we go. Lift up just a touch. And then we just drive that home. Okay, and that's now solid. I can go put another screw in the other end here, and that's not going to move. That's temporary, that can come out. Use that somewhere else. And we're ready to go on to the next piece. Okay, so the next step is going to be to establish where the form comes along the outside of the long section and here, and then we want to actually put a 45 in at this corner here. Now this 45 is going to be a foot back from this edge on either side. So what we need to do is just simply measure the length from A to B minus the width of the pad going down this direction, and then take a foot off to allow for the corner, and then that's how long this section here needs to be, and the same thing in reverse for the other section. So what we've got here, I know when we just finished this up, this is on the outside is 100 inches, so we got 2 3/4 inch pieces of form, so that's 98.5 inches, so just a touch over 8 feet. Now, what do we got here? That's 27 inches, I believe. Okay, so we've got 98.5 inches, that's 27 inches down there. So we take that off of our 98.5, and then we take an additional 12 inches off of that. And that's how long this piece of form here needs to be. Okay, our next step is to attach this piece of form on. We're just going to do that simply by putting a couple of screw holes into the end of the other piece of form, and just make sure that we're level. And just lift that up. Just use your fingers, feel that you're flush. We can force this down now, and that'll actually straighten the edges up for us. Now, next thing we need to do, now this is a test, we need to determine how far out that corner is over there. I know this here from the edge there to the inside of the form is 36 inches, so in theory, if we go from the underside of the form out here to 36 inches, we should in fact be square. Now we're gonna double check that, so I'm just gonna put that right there. Whittled out a bit here. Let's choose a new spot here. Let's actually flip this way we can watch it here. Okay, so now right there. Okay, so that's 36 inches in there. Bingo. Okay, now double check the squareness. What you can do is just simply do your standard corner to corner measurement. We know that we are 59, well, with the corner added, we're 60 1/4 inches to that edge. So we'll just take our pencil, we'll make a mark in here at 60 1/4, and then we'll just simply go corner to corner and stay out there. That's 70 and 70. So that's exactly where we want to be. That's nice and square. So we can send that home now. Okay. And now that we've got this one in place, we can reverse the process for the long side, and then we can put the corner in afterward. Okay, now you may have noticed I haven't actually screwed this board into place yet. Now that's because the next step is to actually level this board. Now we want to check this level with a number of different places. We want to make sure it's level across to this edge of the form. We want to make sure it's level across to the back, and of course we want to make sure it's level with that corner over there. So we're just going to take the board and just move it up and down until we are level, and we're going to sink one screw right about there. And now, that in place, we're just going to check the other levels. We've got it. Now this one here, because we're actually going under the level, what I've got here is I've got a 2x4 block, which we're going to work away here until I actually get under there. There we go. That's my level, and we can just check that as well, and that's level in every direction. So that's perfect. Now we can put all of our screws in all along the way and make sure that piece is solid. Okay, so now with this edge just roughly in place, we take our measurement. We know it's 27 inches out down there, it's 27 inches out down here. We measure across here, we get our distance to close this gap between these 2 points. That's 14 inches. So I've taken the table saw, I've cut a piece of form 14 inches from here to here, not including the bevel of course, because we're going to take the bevel and we're going to put that on the outside, and then we're just simply going to screw into the form, and that's just going to close that off. And then once that's all together, now we just take some more concrete pins and we just simply level up this side and this corner the same way as we did this edge, and then after that we're on to the rebar. Okay, so we've got all of our pegs in. Our forms are now ready here. I've went through, I've cleared out all the excess gravel out of the form here and leveled things up, and I've also went around the whole outside of the form and packed in a little bit of dirt so that the cement doesn't go underneath the form. So now I'm just doing my rebar, and the point of the reinforcement bar is just to keep everything from pulling and cracking on you, and it just gives a little extra strength. Now the concrete itself is very high in compressive strength, but it's very low in intensive strength, and steel is exactly the opposite. So what we're doing here, I'm just putting my bars in so that they run the length here, and gonna have them so they run the length here, and then we're gonna tie up some oddball little pieces in the corner here, just get rid of some scrap around the yard. And the whole rhyme or reason to this here is we're going to try and run it basically on about a 12-15 inch grid type thing. So I'm going to be running a few pieces across and at angles and stuff, just to make sure that whichever way the concrete could possibly pull, it's going to be reinforced that way. Now with a sidewalk slab, which is basically what we're doing here, your force is basically onto the ground. It's all compressive force down generally. The only thing I really have to worry about with tensive forces is if I get some frost heave or something. And now this pad here is pretty stable. It hasn't moved much the last 4 or 5 years since I put it here, so I think we're pretty safe for the most part. But what we're going to do with our rebar here, we're just going to tie it on the grid, and then we'll lift it up to the center of the pad, and pour it that way. Now your rebar for this part of the project, it doesn't need to be particularly elaborate. I've just got a couple long bars running down the main strip there with a few cross sections, and that's pretty much all you need for something like this. Now if you don't have rebar handy, you can always use something like a 6x6 concrete mesh or something like that. Just one thing here, just when you're laying out your rebar, just make sure you cut things so you stay a couple inches away from the edges of the form, because you don't want your rebar to actually be touching the form, or really all that close either. You want at least an inch or two burial. One little trick you can use to keep your rebar lifted is just take an old sidewalk block or something and just break it up into little chunks. They're about 1 3/4, 2 inches standard, so a chunk of those will keep your rebar lifted up off the ground to just about a perfect height for a little sidewalk like this. And then you don't have to actually lift the rebar as you're pouring the concrete. Concrete will just go under it, and voila.